Welcome back, Surbhi, and hi, guys, to another episode of Mind the Line. It's been a while, Surbhi, since we were here.
Yes, with the project change and the weather change and the festive seasons, we have been like postponing it, but finally we are here. And today we are going to discuss what holds us back from setting boundaries.
Yeah, the festive season, I think, eroded everyone's boundaries in terms of engagement, like family and friends engagement. I mean, this time, I think this was the first time I did really enjoy my Diwali. Although I had to go to different places, meet different people, way beyond what I would usually meet. It was fun, but at the same time, it sort of changed my whole system, like my whole body clock.
Mhm.
So now that the festive season is slowing down for a little bit, how do we create or like what holds us back in creating these boundaries and how do we recognize it?
Yeah. So from recognizing couple of things that helps us in recognizing that we need boundaries, I'll say first is where this kind of resentment starts coming up in a relationship. It can be professional, personal, or whatever. When it becomes overwhelming, even in the work, when you don't set that boundary, or in a relationship, or in a friendship, things start getting overwhelming, or there's a lack of enthusiasm.
How does this
Listening to
get
yourself.
expressed in terms of matlab, do you feel fatigued or I sometimes feel that maybe like I don't know if I've mentioned it before and feeling anxious or overthinking like a lot. So I sometimes feel that many a times I get anxious also because it doesn't align, like the boundaries haven't been set and you're doing something beyond, you're doing something for like a better return or beyond your capacity. You're going out and pushing yourself. So you also maybe, so how does this, this fatigue or this overwhelming or resentment set in? Like, how do you recognize it?
For me, one of the rule that I follow is when the thing starts getting in between me and my daily routine activity. And for me, somewhere in top two things that over the years I've realized, because I love dancing, so I
Mm.
stopped dancing. Like I don't want to do it. Second is reading. I stop reading. I can't focus. I can't read. And third is me, like I know everyone has their own spirituality and religion and stuff, but when I stop connecting to that faith or God or higher power, whatever you want to call, I feel distant. So for me, that are three things that has always happened in some way or another. Every time I have overlooked creating a boundary or have pushed myself over and beyond.
So this, okay, so let's say we recognize that, okay, now we need to sort of set some healthy boundaries and
Yeah.
we go about setting these healthy boundaries. There's also, it comes with this, आपने boundary set भी कर ली, but उसके बाद
Hmm.
there is like a feeling of guilt or there's a feeling of regret after setting,
Hmm.
like what is that about, like why okay, so you're feeling, like we said कि, okay, you're feeling resentment earlier on or you're feeling
Hmm.
overwhelmed, so okay, now I need to set a boundary, but setting, is that so?
Yeah, because it's a part of your personality, right? And especially if you are a very empathetic person, empathy burnout is a real thing. Number one. And number two, when you're empathetic, and especially in our culture where we like literally propagate since childhood, help other, and respect everyone, especially when it comes to elder or your parents or the close grandparents, whatever. That they need to be a certain way. We work, we have been working our asses off for years now. So creating that boundaries, there is that fear. The person in power might take you like you have to take a couple of steps back. You never know. So at what cost that boundary comes?
So will that prevent you from setting one or will that bring about like guilt after setting it or both?
So it's both. I think so. It depends upon a lot of parameters. But like in work, I have pretty much learned. Like I won't say still I'm there. but now have started recognizing and voicing it out. For years it was like कि नहीं करना है करना है. Also we somewhat ना हमारे culture में गधा मजदूरी जिसे बोलते हैं, we glorify it. कि हाँ करना है करना है ये भी करना है वो भी कर लेंगे कि. And especially as a woman, I was reading it somewhere कि वो we also know कि still it's just handful of us ना जिनको ये अपॉर्चुनिटी मिली हुई है फॉर हायर एजुकेशन और लिविंग इन आवर लाइफ इन अ वे वी वांट, अर्निंग, बीइंग इंडिपेंडेंट. तो इट्स अ लग्जरी, इट्स स्टिल अ लग्जरी. तो वो कहीं ना कहीं बैक ऑफ द माइंड वो चीज स्टक है कि ओ यू नो आई इट्स अ प्रिविलेज एज अ फीमेल. कितना भी हम बात कर ले इक्वालिटी एंड एवरीथिंग, बट द फैक्ट इज इट्स अ प्रिविलेज अभी इस पॉइंट पे भी.
Privilege prevents, like you're saying, that this privilege makes you sort of push yourself beyond your, your own self and beyond your limits, sort of things.
Yeah, also because you know you will be questioned more easily.
Okay.
At least I feel, or whatever my experience has been, I have worked with the bosses where a female boss in past have explicitly asked, okay, send a male employees because the person before me she got pregnant and she had to go on maternity leave.
ये तो
And that was
reality
coming
है.
from. हाँ, तो and it's a small things, right? You are very conscious about menses. If you want to take that one extra day a month,
Yeah.
even you're going and you're less productive, तो भले ही कोई बोले ना, in your head, because the chatter around it is so loud,
Hmm.
कहीं ना कहीं you start overcompensating it,
Hmm. And that's
not
why you
realizing the
sort of
logic of
blur.
it.
That's why you
Yeah,
blur. Okay. I mean, you know, okay, हमें sort of you're overcompensating, and then if you try to change that, I mean, we're so
yeah.
used to doing all of this, and if we try to change that by creating, sort of a
Hmm.
balance, से फिर ये guilt और regret आता है कि no, maybe I could, like you said, it's a luxury. So I think that
Yeah.
regret follows that, or that guilt follows that. I am one of the ones who has the luxury of doing it, and I'm not doing
Yeah.
it. Or, नहीं काम कर रही, I have like I should be
Hmm.
putting all my hours into it. So I think that's interesting because I was thinking about sort of what you said ki professionally, but personally I feel that many a times when I go, I'm trying to set healthy boundaries. I'm also afraid of like repercussions in terms of like what are the repercussions going to be even personally. So not just professionally, we're always afraid that I think another factor is communication. Like it's a very big factor that in order to set healthy boundaries, we also have to be able to have healthy communications. And oftentimes, because what you mentioned, like culturally, हमें बस,
Hmm.
we're told to not communicate. We're told to say yes to everything. We're told to sort of not speak up. And that sort of needs to change. I feel that if you have to sort of set
Yeah.
healthy boundaries, that needs to change.
So, do you have a certain way you deal with this, like, criticism or pushbacks?
I sort of don't deal it very verbally. I deal it more in terms of my own self that, okay, if I feel that this is a healthy boundary. Now, I think you did mention about respect, and I want to say that, okay, those are, things that culturally and even now is important. So while we are saying that, set boundaries, we are not saying that disrespect your elders.
Yeah.
You be very respectful and still communicate your boundaries. Now, that's a very difficult thing because we are not really skilled, or I'm not really skilled in communicating my feelings. And so I feel that once I have set a boundary for, and that I feel that, okay, this is going to be healthy for me, or for my mental health, or whatever, for my growth. So I try to navigate what the other person is saying. If it's not worth a fight, or if it's not worth a
Mm.
sort of he was sitting and explaining to the other person, I sort of take that in. Now, I don't know whether that's the right approach or not. I don't really respond badly or good, like to it, if it's not something that is really important. And this applies more obviously in a personal aspect. In a professional setting, you have to respond positive manner.
Also, I think it's also receptiveness of the other person, right?
Yeah.
On the other side. Even if I'm very assertive, I'm a good communicator and everything, XYZ. If the other person is very rigid or doesn't want to listen, nor have their own rigid ways of doing things, then it's become like a SWOT analysis kind of thing. You have to check out like pros and cons and
Yeah. I mean, when
how
to be
important
assertive or when not to be assertive in terms
it
of
is. Yeah.
thing, right? I mean, you can
Yeah.
set your boundaries, but it doesn't need to always to be communicated. I mean, going against
Hmm.
again what we sort of said right in the beginning, but you're right. Like it's situational.
Yeah, it's good if we can communicate, but at the end of the day, that's what selfishness becomes versus self-love. Maybe I also think, especially in our personal spaces, personal life, and people we are very close to us, sometimes we need to warm them up into these concepts. I cannot be listening to everything today, and from starting from tomorrow, I cannot say no. These days, this is my boundaries.
Yeah.
So that's also way like
Yeah.
also because we are like almost in mid 30s now,
Yeah.
right? I'm 35 next year. So they also have their almost 3 decades. If I say, chalo, theek hai, 4-5 saal pehle se start bhi kara
Hmm.
very strongly in these things, they have their own way. So overnight, if I can't change, I can't even expect them to change.
Yeah. Also,
So
people
that's
are resistant to change. I mean, the nature of human beings is to not change.
yeah.
So you're trying to, it is to understand that if the other person is not being receptive to your boundary setting, it's not really a lot about you as well. Like they're not trying to sort of oppose you, but they're not there in their nature, it is to not change. So, like
Yes.
I said, to be very receptive or to change. So I think it's more of a cultural thing. And I think Gen Z are doing a good, I mean, they're setting a good example of creating boundaries, at least at workplaces. What I've recently read in the news is that
Hmm.
Gen Z are pretty vocal about their boundary setting and about their work-life balance. And I think they're doing
Hmm.
a good job in setting those boundaries. So much better than us, at least.
Millennials are worst.
I mean, I
Are
feel
worse.
like I'm hitting my teens now. The rebellion is like now it's the time. Not even rebellion के लिए ताकत वो नहीं है, energy नहीं है. Boundary setting के लिए like it's like कि हाँ अब मैंने set कर दी है, बाकी आप पे है. So you want to accept it, not accept it. I don't have the energy to sit and fight with you on it.
Yeah.
So that's my
Like, so I think so. One thing what we can do, we are introducing a new segment, line it or leave it, right? So I'm gonna ask you maybe 5 or 6 situations.
okay.
So if you want a boundary, you say line it,
Okay.
and go through with it, then leave it, and maybe then you can give a short version of it. Why line it or leave it? Like a small explanation. I think so. It will help us in summing up
Yeah.
what. Ready? Okay. Your boss keeps assigning urgent tasks right as you are ending your day. So line it or leave it.
I think definitely line it. So,
Okay.
I mean, you could probably say something like, uh, if it's an urgent task, it depends on whether it's truly urgent.
So that's what it's like. He keeps assigning you. So
He,
it's like a habit.
I think eventually you should right away only sort of line it, where, when
Yeah.
leaving the office, you could probably have a communication where it says that, okay, sir, if you could, like, this is my time. So if you could give it to me earlier, I could finish it earlier, or, I could give it later, maybe. Sir or
Mhm.
ma'am, I mean, whoever's your boss. But definitely line it. I mean, that will become a habit which will never end. So
And it's a good thing if you do as soon as you start a job.
yeah, this won't end. And I think it's important to set those healthy boundaries right in the beginning. Not to say that, those tasks should not be completed. Sometimes they are truly urgent. And yeah,
That is Millennium speaking now.
yeah, don't regret your boundary setting. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
So your friend shares something you told them in confidence because it wasn't a big deal according to them.
So they shared it with someone else.
Yes.
Yeah, often I would leave it, but I think it's important to sort of line it. Because what do you think?
For me, it's a line it. It's I'm not gonna leave it anyway. Because if I think it may be the smallest thing for you,
Yeah.
but if I think it's a big thing for me and I'm sharing it in confidence, or at least if I am that friend who by mistake have said it out loud, I'll at least come back to you and tell.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think
so
it
and so.
depends on the friendship in terms of like how important you that friend is in your circle. So, is it a really close friend whom you want to continue sharing your confidential information with? Then you line it. If it's a friend where you shared something confidentially, but in the future you see, okay, maybe they're in my outer circle and I'm okay not sharing confidential information, so you could leave it as well. I mean, so it really depends on how close this friend is to you and how much confidential information you want to keep sharing. I would usually maybe stop, like take that as a lesson and not share
Yeah,
confidential information. But if I suppose you line it, maybe you could become closer friends.
yeah. Okay. Your partner reads your messages or checks your phone just to be sure.
No, that's a no-no. That's a big no-no for me, since like
Yeah.
the only place where I'm extremely sure. It's a complete no. It's a line it, leave it, Tini.
Confident.
It's a throw the partner out. No, no. I think these should conversation should be had right in the beginning. These should be ground rules. It shouldn't
Yeah.
be, left it to line it or leave it. It should be ground rule setting.
Also, I think so your romantic relationship or even your friendships are something that you develop. So you have scope for the ground rules.
Yeah.
Okay. A family member's comments on your life choices every time you meet them, your job, your clothes, your relationships, your everything.
I just leave it. No point deal. Like it's very difficult for me. What's your take?
See, for me, the point is how important that person is for me. If that person is important, I don't think so. They're gonna deliberately say something that that's gonna hurt me. And if that does not matter, I don't give a damn. I over the years I have become like that. That my head is auto tune. Just cut
Yeah,
out the voice.
I mean, I feel like you always have to consider the intention, like you said, behind it. And
Yeah,
someone has said something that is hurtful, but the intention was good. So you can leave
yeah,
thinking that, okay, the intention was good. And especially commentary on like minor things, it does
yeah,
affect. It does play a very big role in terms of,
yeah,
body image, especially amongst girls. Like
yeah,
constant comments, they should not be ignored. But I feel like, for me at least, they played a role subconsciously, which I didn't realize. But now I've reached a stage where I've, sort of come to acceptance with different changing body and
yeah,
so on. So now again, it's like a leave it. But maybe if it really impacts you and if it really affects you, and I've seen like small petty comments within
yeah,
like party auntie who's come to a party commenting on
yeah,
your, a friend of mine, her brother was going through a divorce at that time, and this auntie just like did some comment. It affected her so much that she stopped coming for any social engagements. Now, for these, I feel like yes, they were maybe for auntie it was harmless, but it definitely had a very adverse impact on her. So those should be addressed, and eventually she did address.
I think so those kind of aunties, I don't even say harmless, I think they get sadistic pleasure.
Yeah, yeah, मजे तो लेते
I
ही
think
हैं।
मजे ही ले रहे हैं वो। I don't say something very offensive and I'm like, okay, no.
But I think so that friend of mine did, eventually raise it with her, and auntie understood and she sort of apologized as well. But it took her a year, and I mean, she sort of withdrew from all social engagements, and
Hmm.
it's not, it was sad to see. So I feel like, obviously, be empathy honi chahiye, and I also feel that at times that, like, they should not take it too much,
Hmm.
sort of their personal values or beings. Like, so it would help in navigating these situations. I know it's offensive, and I'm not sort of undermining the effect it has, but it will help navigate it.
Lil.
So shout out to Gen Zs for setting, their boundaries very well. And so we would love to hear more situations that you have faced where you have either decided to set a boundary or decided to not set a boundary. And do follow us for more such content. And thank you so much.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.